Okay, in today's lesson, we're going to take a look at specialized computer systems. This is the last section of Chapter 1. So when we're designing computers, sometimes we might need to design and build and install computers for a customer that can accomplish a specific task. All computers can run programs, store data, and use I/O devices. And they traditionally use a standard thick client, and that's what a desktop computer is. But sometimes our customers might want to run something very unique, maybe to design other programs or computers, design things for manufacturing, such as blueprints, things for cars, and they would use specialized programs called CAD or CAM. And some things to make note is that you're going to need a very powerful processor, a high-end video card, and a maximum amount of RAM. Because special CAD software or CAM software is going to need a lot of resources. So it's important. They will also need high-end video cards, and they're going to need a large amount of RAM. So three things to take in consideration when we're thinking about CAD or CAM programs. Sometimes we will need to design programs that are for audio editing or even video editing. And in this case, we would need to consider, again, RAM, CPU, special software needs, additional cards for audio and input, and also, since graphics tend to be larger files, they tend to run at larger speeds, especially if someone's working with high quality video. That means you're going to need fast processors, hard drives that are running fast, and lots of RAM. Then the computer doesn't need to access the hard drive for storage needs on a regular basis. So there are a couple of things to take in consideration when devising audio and video editing workstations. And often when people are working with video and audio, it is nice to have additional monitors. So you'll have dual monitor workstations, sometimes 3 or 4 monitors with a workstation, so they can see all the processes going on at one time. So in fact, right now, as I'm doing this video, I have 3 monitors at my access here, so I can see everything going on, see some notes that I can read from, see what I'm doing here, and also access my software that is recording the lecture here. So anyway, the next topic is virtual workstations. And virtual workstations, again, are going to require a large amount of RAM. They are going to need maximum CPU cores. And what this is that people can use virtual workstations in different ways. One option would be that people are coming in and they're working on a client, and that client is a smaller unit, and all the processing gets done on a server that's running the virtual operating system. And this is a way to save resources. An office place might do it this way. Another way is if you're designing programs and you're testing programs, you might want to run a different operating system in a virtual environment, and that way you won't have any harm done to your actual operating system. So this would be a virtual desktop infrastructure, that example. So some examples here of how you might use a VDI to test software or do software upgrades. Use another operating system. Maybe you need to train some staff on something like Linux or an Apple desktop system or Ubuntu, then you could, but you run Windows, you could run a virtual environment of those, get familiar with the other operating systems and be able to train other people on that type of operating system. You could also, a key thing is if you're concerned about security, you could run your real operating system, run a virtual operating system, and you could browse the internet and you wouldn't have to worry about being attacked by viruses or harm coming to your real operating system. And one other option is that if you can run older programs that aren't compatible with our modern operating systems. So if you wanted to go back and you had a client who ran an older version of some type of program, then you could run it in, and it required an older operating system, you could run that older operating system in a virtual container, and then you could, address your client's needs. Again, some things to think about though are your maximum RAM, your CPU. Some things that we will take into consideration are CPU cores. So instead of having single cores, we could have multiple cores to help with running these virtual environments. Some other considerations for specialized computer systems is gaming PC and a home theater personal computer. So in a gaming PC, a lot of times games require a lot of graphics. They require a faster processor and a large amount of RAM so that the graphics can move smoothly, the characters can respond quickly, that the computer can access the data, or the program can access the data quickly. So having a powerful processor, a high-end video card, a high-end sound card. A lot of times video games create a really nice sound system so the gamers can get immersed in the programs. And because of all these processes happening so fastly and using a lot of resources, the computers tend to get hot. So you need a high-end cooling system. You'll need lots of RAM. Fast storage. So if the computer needs to access the data, we want a bus that's going to be able to communicate quickly from the RAM to the CPU via the motherboard. And sometimes computer games need specific devices. So you might need a microphone that has a headset with a built-in microphone, maybe a joystick, some other different types of devices so that the gamer can interact with the game environment. And the last type of program is the home theater PC. And today, because we have these high definition TVs and people recreating mini theaters in their homes, they want to recreate a lot of the environment, the sound, the depth of the video of the TV. Sometimes these computers will have TV tuners built in. They'll have special audio cards. You're going to need HDMI out so you can get the output maybe going to the TV tuner or to the TV, so you need HDMI out. You might need specialized hard drives that are quiet so that they don't interfere with the viewing environment. Sometimes the cases are on a different style so they can fit in a certain area, maybe behind a flat screen TV or in special compartments. Sometimes people, instead of installing a personal computer, they'll install a home theater server, and it will be in a central location, and many devices can access and share files that are stored there. And they might use a RAID array to protect their data. Remember, RAID has a redundancy to protect data. So in all of these specialized computer systems, we need to consider the RAM, the processors, the hardware, that is going to run on them to meet our clients' specialized needs. Well, that is the end of this section of Chapter 1, and actually the end of Chapter 1. So we've addressed several things in Chapter 1. We've addressed the personal computer systems. We've talked about the components of the computer, the motherboard, the CPU, the cooling fan, the heatsink. We've talked about RAM and ROM. We've also talked about our hard drives, and we've talked about our solid-state hard drives, our optical drives, whether they're CD, DVD, or Blu-ray. We've also talked about expansion cards such as PCI and PCI Express, which allow us to add upgraded video cards, sound cards, Ethernet networking capabilities, wireless capabilities, adding FireWire or USB to our computer. So in this chapter was a lot of information. If you feel you've read through this chapter and you're not really feeling comfortable that you know the information, I would suggest you go back and reread it. Make sure you do all of the worksheets and you do the labs that are in the chapter as you go along. You probably should try to do them as you're going along, and divide the chapter readings up into sections, and I think you'll have a better time of processing all of the information. Okay, thanks a lot. Have a great day, and next time we'll take a look at Chapter 2.